Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe, Jai Jagannath Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra, Jai Lakshmi Narasimha Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jai Gauranita Jaya Gauranita, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Radhe, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Gyananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya-manodishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kada mahyam dadati swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminti Namine Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kapabhi Krishna Sambandha Vikyana Daine Prabhave Namah Madhuri Jala Premarjai Shri Rupanupadaptira Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Prasiddhanta Pantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murte Rujitrambar Sambhode Padambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidanandanamine Gauri Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Gaura Virbhavini Swami Deka Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaye Te Namaha Vanchāya Kalpataru Vyasta Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaya Te Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaura Tushe Nama Panchatattvaatmakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostate Jaitam Surato Pangur Mama Mandir Matirgati Matsarvasapadampoj Shri Radha Madana Mohanam Divya Vrindaranyam Kalpadrimadha Shri Madhvatnagar Simhasanastav Shri Radha Shri Govinda Devo Preshthali Sevamana Smarami Shriman Rasasaram Divam Shivata Tadasitha Karshan Devasane Gopi Gopinatha Shri Sunha Tattakanchana Gaurangi Shri Tadhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Premani Hari Pri Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Mute your phones. 15 chapters, 7th verse. Till now, the nature of this world has been described, how it is compared to an upside down tree, and then how it is an imaginary tree. You cannot find it with our gross eyes. What is the qualification to go to the Padam Abhyayam, or the abode of Lord, and the nature of the abode of Lord has been given. Now, what is the nature of the Jiva? ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. This was to be memorized. ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः. See, जीवभूतः is Sanatana. He is eternal. He is eternally my part and parcel. So Krishna is also existing. All his part and parcels are also existing. As much as Krishna is eternal, the Jiva is also eternal. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Among all the eternals, Krishna is eternal. So all are eternal. Both are eternal. But we are part and parcel of Krishna. Mana Shashthan Indriyani. What happened? We have conditioned ourselves in this material life. And because of that, we have got a body which has Shada Indriya, 6 Indriyas. The 6 Indriya in that mind is one, which includes the mind. We have eyes, nose, ears, tongue, skin. These are the 6 senses, knowledge gaining senses. Along with that, mind is also included. So we are suffering. Manashashtan Indriyani Prakrtisthani Karshati. So we are struggling in this material world. Karshati. Karshati means we are struggling. Karshati also means we are also attracted. Karshati iti Krishna. So instead of getting attracted to the Lord, the Supreme Lord, Karshati, we are attracted to this material world, and the nature of the material world is Ashashvatam Dukkhalayam. So how we are struggling with our 6 senses, we are struggling in this material world. This Karshati also refers to we are struggling very hard. Karshati. Okay. Anupama, please read. I think this verse you can do alone.
I will try, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mamaivansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashtani indriyani prakriti thani karsati
Karshati.
karshati.
When you said Indriya, Mana Shashthan Indriyani or Mana Shashthan Indriyani. Yeah, it is a very, this E is put in, no, but very careful while reading. Mana Shashthan Indriyani.
Yeah, the difficulty is like if we read in Hindi, it is easy to understand, but in English, it's become Shasti, Karshasti. Yeah.
Shashthan Indriyani. Karshati. Down that dot is there. Karshati. Wherever dot is there, that has to be pronounced sh, not sa.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Translation: the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmented parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this verse, the identity of the living being is clearly given. The living entity is the fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord internally. It is not that assumes individually is his conditional life and in his liberated state becomes one with the Supreme Lord. He is internally fragmented. It is clearly that Sanatana, according to the Vedic version, the Supreme Lord manifests and expands himself in innumerable expansions, of which the primary expansion are called Vishnu Tattva, and the secondary expansions are called the living entities. In other words, Vishnu Tattva is the personal expansion and the living entity are the separated expansions. By this personal expansion, he is manifested in various forms like Lord Rama, Narsimhadeva, Vishnumurti, and all the predominating deities in the Vaikuntha planets. The separated expansion, the living entities are internally ser- servitors, the personal expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the individual identities of the Godhead are always present. Similarly, the separated expansion of living entities have their identities as fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The living entities also have fragmental portion of these qualities, of which independence is one. Every living entity as an individual soul has his personal individuality and imminent form of independence. By misuse of that independence, one becomes a conditioned soul, and by proper use of independence, he is always liberated. In either case, he is qualitatively eternal, as the Supreme Lord is. In this liberated state, he is freed from this material condition, and he is under the engagement of transcendental service unto the Lord. In this conditioned life, he is dominated by material modes of nature, and he forgets the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As a result, he has to struggle very hard to maintain his existence in the material world. The living entities, not only human beings and the cats and dogs, but even the greater controllers of the material world, Brahma, Lord Shiva, and even Vishnu, are all part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. They are all internal, not temporary manifestation. The word Shati, struggling or grappling hard, is very significant. The conditioned soul is bound up as though shackled by iron chains. He is bound up by the false ego, and the mind is the chief agent which is driving him in this material existence. When the mind is in the mode of goodness, his activities are good. When the mind is in the mode of passion, his activities are troublesome. And when the mind is in the mode of ignorance, he travels in the lower species of life. It is clear, however, in this verse that the conditioned soul is covered by the material body with the mind and the senses, and when he is liberated, this material covering perishes, but his spiritual body manifests itself its individual capacity. The following information is there in the Madhya An Madhya Andinayana.
माध्यन् माध्यन्दिनायनस्तुतिः स वा एष ब्रह्मनिष्ठः इदं शरीरम् मर्त्यम् अतृष्यः ब्रह्माभिसम्पद्य ब्रह्मणा पश्यति ब्रह्मणा शृणोति ब्रह्मणैवेदं सर्वम् अनुभवति. Read this and explain. Read full.
It is stated here that when a living entity gives up his material embodiment and enters into the spiritual world, he revives his spiritual body, and in his spiritual body, he can see the spiritual personality of Godhead face to face. He can hear and speak to him face to face, and he can understand the Supreme Personality as he is. From Smriti also it is understood Vas, Vasanti Yatra Purusha Sarve Vaikuntha Murteha. Murteha. In the spiritual planets, everyone lives in body featured like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As far as the bodily construction is concerned, there is no difference between the part and parcel living entities and the expansion of Vishnumurti. In other words, as liberation, the living entity gets a spiritual body by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words Mamai Veshmasaha
ममैवांशः
fragmental
ममैवांशः.
Mamai Vamshaha, fragmental part and parcels of Supreme Lord, are also very significant. The fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is not like some material broken part. We have already understood in the second chapter that the spirit cannot be cut into pieces. The fragment is not materially conceived. It is not like matter, which can be cut into pieces and joined together again. That conception is not applicable here because the Sanskrit word sanatana is internal, is used. The fragmental portion is internal. It is also stated in the beginning of the second chapter that each and every individual body, the fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is present. Dehino smin yatha dehe. That fragmental portion, when liberated from the bodily entanglement, revives its original spiritual body in the spiritual sky, in spiritual planet, and enjoy association with the Supreme Lord. It is, however, understood here that the living entity, being the fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is quantitatively one with the Lord,
Qualitative.
qualitatively one with the Lord, just as the parts and parcel of gold are also gold. Hare
So,
Krishna.
Madhyandinayana Shruti, what it speaks, Sava Eshaha Brahmanishta Idam Shariram Martyam. So, when the soul leaves the body, Atrisrijyaha Brahmavi Sampadyaha. And then when it enters the spiritual world, Brahmana Pashyati can see the Lord, Brahmana Shnoti can hear the Lord, Brahmana Ivadam Sarvam Anubhavati can see the Lord face to face. So the jivas are the amshas of Krishna, but conditioned in this material life. It's not so easy to come out of this material life. And also, when the jiva gets liberated from this material conditioning, then it is not that it enters the Brahman and that Brahman was one and then it got divided. No, it enters the state of Brahman, the pure state of Brahman. There is a lot of difference between the pure state of Brahman and the Mayavadi's explanation about having a Brahman, and that Brahman, when it comes in contact with the matter, gets divided. No, eternally we are fragmental portion of Krishna. These fragmental portions are not afterwards combining and becoming one Brahman. It gets the state of Brahman. The state of Brahman means it enters the eternity or eternal pure state. That is why in Vaikuntha, every living entity there has a special identity, a different identity. Everybody has an individual identity. And that individual identity, they look like Krishna. There they look like Narayana. Every living entity having a spiritual body, that spiritual body looks like Narayana, but there is a difference between Narayana and the jivas who are having the spiritual body. So every living entity has a spiritual body. Because of getting conditioned, acquires a material body. Once the material body is done with, or when all the senses are completely purified, including mind, intelligence, and the ego, when it's completely purified, then he gets liberated from this material condition. So the Mayavadi philosophers, they explain in this way. There are different pots, and when the pot breaks, the air in the pot mixes with the total air. In the same way, the body is compared to be a pot. When the pot is broken, or when the jiva comes out of this body, this jiva combines with the total Brahman. So aham brahmasmi tattvamasi sarvam kalidam Brahman. That is their funda, which they have not understood properly. So qualitatively, we are one with Krishna. Aham brahmasmi tattvamasi. Qualitatively, we are one, but quantitatively, we are different. So these three aphorisms are very important to be understood in a right perspective. Aham brahmasmi. Yes, I am that Brahman. The same Brahman is me, but then sarvam kalidam Brahman. Everything is Brahman. But there is a difference between Jada Brahman, Jiva Brahman, Para Brahman. Where Madhvacharya, I have told this Madhvacharya's coconut example. I have given that. I don't know whether I gave. Let me tell again. So when Madhvacharya, because he wanted to spread Advaita philosophy, this Advaita philosophy were giving a wrong understanding about one's relationship with Krishna. So when Sripad Adi Shankaracharya's Advaita philosophy was wrongly understood and it was becoming very predominant at the time Madhvacharya gave Dvaita philosophy. There is a difference between, the Dvaita means difference. There's a difference between Lord and the Jiva. At that time, he went to Kerala. He asked for a coconut, green coconut. Then he asked everyone in the assembly, what is this? He told, coconut. He removed the outer covering and there was a brown coconut inside. What is this? The coconut. He removed the brown shell also. Inside white. What is this? The coconut. Now there are green part, brown part, and the white part. Then he asked, now tell me, what is this? They did not say it is coconut. They said it is a green shell. Then they did not say this is a coconut. They told it is a brown shell. When it came to this, they told it is a coconut. So when all put together, it is coconut. When all put together, it is Brahman. But within the Brahman, there is difference. Jiva Brahman, Jala Brahman, Para Brahman. Soul, matter, Lord. So in this way, he taught the Dvaita philosophy. There is a distinct difference. This is knowledge actually. There's a distinct difference between soul, matter, and super soul or Lord. When the Jiva comes out of the conditioning, he becomes the one with Brahman. That means what? He gets the nature of Brahman, the quality of Brahman. That is why Srila Prabhupada says, every day till I am divine, I am divine. That means I have eternal nature, but I have been conditioned in this 6 senses, which also includes mind. Mind thinks, feels, and wills. And the body becomes an instrument. Intelligence is a discriminating factor. But if the mind overrules the intelligence, then the intelligence, which should be the next door neighbor of the soul, is not able to really discriminate between what activity is a binding one and or which activity is going to give us freedom. Okay, now 8 verse. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyukramatishvaraha gruhitvaitani samyati vayurgandhani vashayat. Shariram yadavapnoti. When you're reading in English, join both the things, both the words. Don't say yad avapnoti. You can do that also, but you should say then yad. Yadavapnoti. If you join both, then yadavapnoti. It's the same thing. Yadavapnoti. Yadavapnoti or yadavapnoti. You can say yadavapnoti. Yachapi utkramatishvaraha. Instead of breaking all these things, yachapyutkramatishvaraha. Kramatishvaraha. You have to join both and say. Gruhitvaitani samyati vayurgandhani vashayat. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramatishvaraha. Gruhitvaitani samyati vayurgandhani vashayat. So shariram yad avapnoti. Avapnoti. Shariram, body. Avapnoti. When it gets the body, a living entity, when it gets the body or goes from one body to another body, it gives up utkramati. When it gives up one body, this Lord of the body, that is Ishvaraha, that is soul, Gruhitva, taking another body, how it goes? It goes to the another body like the air which carries aroma. Now the air, like you put perfume in one room, but you can have that fragrance in another room. Why? That air carried the fragrance. In the same way, the soul travels from one body to another body, carrying a subtle mind intelligence and false ego. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to another. So, what it takes vasanas, different conceptions of life, that is known as vasanas. Then they're also known as impressions. Sometimes we dream certain things which we have not seen in this life. That means we have seen in some other life, somewhere else. We have seen something which we are not able to forget in this life. Like in my childhood, every day I used to see people are standing in a row and everybody are shot. I used to think, what is this? Every day the dream, same dream every day. All are standing in a row and everybody are shot. This time when I saw the Kashmir files, it was like, I thought maybe, who knows, I must be someone of them. Who knows? But such things happen. When cruelty happens, such thing happens. And I used to just wake up in my dreams. In such small, like 3-4 years, I used to have such dreams. I don't know. But these are there. These are the impressions which carried. Who knows in what past life, what experience a person had. That is why such impressions come, which you have not experienced in this life. But who knows in the past life, where, who must have shot or what I would have seen, I don't know. But such things happen. It is truth. There are past life experiences. There are past life memories also good. Some memory did not come. At least something like in the dream it used to come and I used to just get up. Night I used to tell my mama, mama, everybody are shot. Mommy used to say, sleep, sleep, nothing is happening, sleep. So there are certain things which is not lost. It is like an aroma carried from one place to another place. Okay. Ashoka Nisha Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna. Shariram yatvapnoti yachapyutkramatiishvaraha grahitvaitani sanyati vayurgandhani evashayat. Translation. The living entity.
Ivashayat. Gandhani Ivashayat.
Vayurgandhani evashayat.
Gandhani Vashayat. You have already added me.
Okay. So E will not be spoken. Vayurgandhani vashayat. Okay. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Here the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his own body. If he likes, he can change his body to a higher grade, and if he likes, he can move to a lower class. Minute independence is there. The changes his body undergoes depends upon him. At the time of death, the consciousness he has created will carry him to the next type of body. If he has made his consciousness like that of a cat or dog, he is sure to change to a cat's or dog's body. And if he has fixed his consciousness on godly qualities, he will change into the form of a demigod. And if he is in Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Krishna Loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. It is a false claim that after annihilation of this body, everything is finished. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and present activities are the background of his next body. One gets a different body according to karma, and he has to quit this body in due course. It is stated here that the subtle body, which carries the conception of the next body, develops another body in the next life. This process of transmigrating from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karshati, or struggle for existence. Hare Krishna.
It is Karshati, not Karshati.
Karshati. Okay. Karshati.
So the process of transmigrating from one body to another and struggling while in this body is called as Karshati, struggle for existence. You have this. struggle for existence. Everybody is for struggling, survival, for struggling for existence. Even in the science also we have studied this, struggle for existence. It is true. Just eating, for eating, how much endeavor we do. We have to fill our stomach. We have to get energy for working. So all these things are because we have been conditioned in this body. Not only in the human body, in every body, there is a struggle for existence. There is a struggle to keep ourselves protected. Four things are there which is common in animal and man. That is ahara, that is eating, nidra, sleeping, bhaya, that is fear, and maithun, and that is mating. And in everything there is a struggle. You name an activity, there is a struggle. There are different gradation in the struggle, but there is a struggle for survival, there is struggle for existence. Shotram chakshu sparshanam cha rasanam granam cha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayanu pasevate. Shotram chakshu sparshanam cha rasanam pranameva cha rasanam pranameva cha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayanu pasevate. So, Shotram, Chakshu, Sparshanam, Cha, Rasanam, Granam. 5 knowledge gaining senses: ears, eyes, skin, that is touch, Rasanam, that is tongue, Granam, that is smell, smelling power. Evacha, Adhishtaya, Manaschayam. So, these 6 senses have been described here. The mind. And in this way, with these 6 senses, including the mind, the jiva, ayam, enam, sharirinaha, tehinaha, they all refer to soul. These 4 words come, then immediately you should understand this refers to soul. Ayam, enam, sharirinaha, dehinaha. This first word came where? In the 2nd chapter. Dehinosmin yatha dehe Kaumaram Yauvanam Jara Tatha Dehantara Prapte Tiras Tattara Muhyati. That is where this word Dehi has been introduced. Deha, Dehi. Shariraha, Sharirinaha. Atma, Ayam, Enam. They all refer to soul. So Ayam. Manascha, Ayam. Ayam means who? The soul. What is the soul engrossed in? Vishayan upasevate. Upasevate means enjoying the sense objects. The senses come in contact with the sense objects, and here the role of the mind is very important because it is at the level of mind, thinking, willing, feeling, producing the desires. Everything happens at the level of mind. Once the mind has a desire, then the mind forces the instruments to acquire it. The mind has a desire to see a particular object. Then the eyes are forced to see that object. Even though a person tries to control the mind, there are pretenders, mithyachari, that also we have studied. There are pretenders, they are known as mithyacharis. They are trying to control the mind by superficially coming out from the sense objects or trying to remove the sense objects. But the sense objects are dwelling at the level of mind. I may artificially go away from the sense objects, but my mind is hovering at that sense objects. So in the level of mind, there is an eye. All the senses are there first at the level of mind. Sometimes you look at the fan, but you're not looking at the fan, you're looking at something else. You're thinking of something else. That means at the level of mind, everything first the activity happens. And then that activity, one is materializing it through the senses. What happens in this Pitrupaksha month? The Pitrupaksha month is going on, Shraddha month. It's very important month. The Pitrus, they're offered water, they're offered food. Why? because they are also hankering for it. And that is why Shraddha, this word comes from the word Shraddha. Shraddha Shabda Vishwasi Kahe Sudruda Nishtaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritahaya. The food which is offered to Krishna, that is given to Pitrus. If that is given to Pitrus, then they are satisfied. There are ghostly bodies. Sometimes a person commits suicide. So what happens? He doesn't get another body very easily. So he is in the ghostly body. Mind is having desires, but there is no instrument to materialize that desire. So Harinam Sankirtan, offering water, offering the food which is given to Krishna, Go Puja, all these things are done to satisfy the Pitrus. Because mind is such a thing where these desires, previous life impressions, everything is accumulated. And once you have an opportunity, you try to get it, acquire it. If you don't get an opportunity, you struggle for acquiring it. That is struggle for existence. Okay, Krishna, please.
स्तोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते. Translation. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eyes, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In other words, if the living entity adulterates his consciousness with the quality of cats and dogs, in his next life he gets a cat or dog body and enjoys it. Consciousness is originally pure, like water. But if we mix water with a certain color, it changes. Similarly, consciousness is pure. For the spirit soul is pure, but consciousness is changed according to the association of the material qualities. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life he gets a corresponding body. He does not necessarily get a human body again. He can get the body of a cat, dog, hog, demigod, or one of many other forms for their 8,40,000 species. Hare Krishna.
84 lakh species. 84 lakh species.
84 lakh species.
We know that count, na? Jalajala Valakshani Sthavara Laksha Vimshati. You know that count? We have that verse. Jalaja Navalakshani. Jalaja Navalakshani. That means in aquatics we have 9 lakh species. Jalaja Navalakshani. Write down and take how this 84 lakh count comes. You must be knowing this verse also. Those who don't know that can write down. Jalaja Navalakshani Sthavara Laksha Vimshasi. So what is the meaning of Sthavara? Sthavara means immovable things like the plants, trees. They are known as immovable. They are Laksha Vimshati. They are, now we are talking about types. They are not the count. They are the types. So Sthavara Laksha Vimshati. They are 20 lakh counts. That is 20 lakhs. Sthavara Laksha Vimshati. Immovable. And then we have Krimeho Rudra Sankhyanam. Krimeho, this Krimika, insects. Krimeho Rudra Sankhyanam. Rudra Sankhyanam means 11 lakhs. 11 lakh species of insects. Krimeho Rudra Sankhyanam. Pakshinam Dashalakshanam. Pakshi. That is, birds are 10 lakhs. Pakshinam Dashalakshanam. Trimsal Lakshani Pashabah. 3 lakh species of Trimsal Lakshani Pashabah. Sorry, 30 Trimsal Lakshani. 30 lakh species. 30 lakh species of four-legged animals. Trimsal Lakshani Pashabah. Chatur Lakshani Manava. The lowest category is human. 4 lakh species. Now you see. First was 9, then came 20, 29, 29 plus 11 became 40. After that, 40 became 10, that is 50, 50 plus 30, 80, and 4, 84 lakh species. This is the count. You should know these words very nicely. How this 84 lakh species came in picture. Jalajanav Lakshani, Sthavara Lakshavimshati, Krimha Ritra Sankhyanam, Pakshinam Dashalakshanam, Krimsa Lakshani Pashavaha, Chaturlakshani Manavaha. So now 84 lakh species. So we are struggling for existence. With all our mind impressions, we are getting one body to another body. How? Like how the aroma goes from one room to another room. The impressions are carried from one body to another body. That is why these activities in this present body decides our next life. Why it is said a human body is a chance to come out of this birth and death cycle. It's a chance. You have a loophole, that is Harinam Sankirtan, Krishna Bhakti, by which we can come out. Or it goes on, one body to another body, one body to another body. So this is a loophole. Devotional service is a loophole. The more we are engrossed in devotional service, the more we can come out of this birth and death cycle. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Mama Janmani Shware Bhavata Takti Rahantukitri. Let me have again and again birth. But in every birth, O Krishna, please keep me engaged in your service. Please keep me engaged in your service. So devotee is not afraid of getting birth. The devotee is afraid of losing the opportunity to serve Krishna. That only should be the fear. There should not be any other fear. There should be a fear of losing the opportunity to serve Krishna. So coming in this cycle again, in the birth and death cycle, is not a fear for a devotee. What is only fear? That we should not lose our service to Krishna. Okay. Utkramantam sitam vapi bunjanam bhagunanvitam vimudha pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Utkramantam stitam vapi bhunjanam bhagunanvitam vimudha pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Vimudha, Krishna is telling special fool, Vishesha Rupena Mudha. Krishna is only telling foolish. It's actually Vimudha, Vishesha Rupena Mudha, special fool. What is he doing? He cannot understand. What he cannot understand? How a soul quits the body. Utkramantam stitam va api Bhunjanam va gunan vitam. He cannot understand. Vimudha na anubhashyanti. Cannot see. What he cannot see? That how a living entity can quit the body. And even he cannot see also, they cannot understand that what sort of body is he going to enjoy in the next life. He cannot see this. He cannot see what happens at the time of death. He's not able to see how the living entity quits the body, and under the spell of material nature, how a living entity gets another body to enjoy the sense objects. But who can see? Jnana chakshushaha, pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. So one who is having the eyes of knowledge, they can see. Like we saw this verse, Dehi nosminatha dehe kaumaram yoganam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhiras tatra muhyati. Dhira Purusha can see what happens at the time of death. A Dhira Purusha can see how a living entity has quit one body and has got another body. What type of body a living entity is going to get? A person who has Jnana Chakshushaha, with eyes of his knowledge, he can immediately say, okay, what type of body is he going to get in the next lifetime? Okay. Vandana Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna. Utkramantam siddham vyapi bhujanam vaguna anvitam vimudha guna anvitam
Why? Guna Anvitam, why you should say Guna Anvitam?
Gunanvitam. I'll repeat it again, Mataji. Kramanta sthitham vyapi bhujanam vaguna
Vyapi or Vapi?
Vyapi.
Huh? नहीं व्यापी नहीं वापी वापी
Vapi.
you know Vapi is there, one city Vapi.
Enjoy.
Vapi bhunjanam vaguna gunavitam vimudhananu pashyanti jnana chakshusha. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. For one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Purport. The word Gyan Chakshu is very significant. Without knowledge, one cannot understand how a living entity leaves his present body, nor what form of body he is going to take in the next life, nor even why he is living in a particular type of body. This requires a great amount of knowledge understood from Bhagavad Gita and similar literature, heard from a bona fide spiritual master. One who is trained to perceive all these things is fortunate. Living entity is quitting his body under certain circumstances. He is under certain circumstances and he is enjoying under certain circumstances, under the spell of material nature. As a result, he is suffering different kinds of happiness and distress under the illusion of sense enjoyment. Persons who are everlasting, fooled by lust and desire, lose all power to understand their change of body and their stay in particular body. They cannot comprehend it. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, can see this, that spirit is different from the body and is changing its body and is enjoying in different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to people in general, for their conditional life is very much troublesome. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.
Because they should come out of it and be Krishna conscious, liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. So a knowledgeable person, he can see how this activity of the current body or the current life, how it affects a person in the next lifetime, how he carries these impressions, and these impressions manipulate the matter to fulfill that impressions. We get a certain type of body. Yatanto yoginashchainam pasyantyatmanyavasthitam yatantopyakutatmano naidam pasyantyachetasah. Yatanto yoginashchainam, again senam has come. Yatanto yoginashchainam pasyantyatmanyavasthitam. This is a very technical word. Huh? Pashyanti atmani avastitam. All you have to join together. Don't say pashyanti atmani avastitam. Pashyanti atmani avastitam. All tongue twisting, isn't it? It's a tongue twisting. Pashyanti atmani avastitam. Yatantopyakrutaatmanu nainam pashyantya chetasaha. So yatanto yoginaschainam. Yatantaha. Yatantaha means one who is endeavoring. This transcendentalists, they are endeavoring. How they are endeavoring? They are endeavoring for self-realization. So when they are situated in the self-realization, avastitam, they are situated in the self. That means they are able to see that I am not the body, I am soul. Then they can see all this clearly. And just not, I am not the body, I am soul. I am part and parcel of Krishna. I am servant of Krishna. That is perfect self-realization. It is not just knowing I am not the body, I am soul. There are many jnanis who know this. And then they try to even destroy their body. But understanding I am part and parcel of Krishna. This matter also belongs to Krishna. Utilizing everything in service of Krishna. That is real self-realization. So yatantaha yoginaha cha enam pashyanti atmani avastitam. They are situated in the self. Yatantaha api akritatmanaha. So one who is not situated in self-realization, akritatmanaha. Kurtatmanaha, akritatmanaha. So he is not situated in the self, in the self, that means he is not self-realized. Na evam pashyati achetasa. He will never understand this truth. Why? His mind is not developed. Achetasa. His consciousness is not developed. That is why he can never understand this. The mind which is not developed and who are not situated in the self-realization cannot see what is taking place. They are not understanding what happens at the time of death. The soul transfers itself from one body to another body. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grahati naroparani tha shalidani vihaya jirnani navani grahati. So in this way, when there is a transfer, when the body is unfit to stay, it transfers itself. Navani grunhati naroparani. When it is taking new body. So it is not necessary. Everybody has to become old only and then leave the body. We see there are young children or maybe in the womb or maybe young girls or young boys in the teenage. Then there are some in the middle age, they leave the body. What happens when the body is unfit to stay? That may be a new body. Like suppose I have got a dress and I have got two dresses. One dress I brought yesterday and one dress I brought some 10 years back. But yesterday dress by accidentally it got torn. So I'm not going to wear it just because it is new. It is unfit to stay. In the same way, when the body becomes unfit to stay, this jara, that means unfit to stay. Jara is not just said it is old. Everybody need not become old and give up the body. Some leave the body at a very early stage. So when it is unfit to stay, it changes the body. Vasamsi jirnani. This jirnani word is not just old. Jirna means unfit to stay. Jirnani. Okay. Neeraj Prabhu, please.
यतन्तो योगींश्यन पश्यन्ति आत्मनावस्थितं यतन्तोऽपि अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्त्यस्य चेतसः. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose mind are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. Purport: By Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
There are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritual self-realization, but one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of the living entity. The word yogina is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are many so-called yogis and there are many so-called associations of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called yatantospi yakratat manaha. Even though they are endeavoring in so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world, and the Supreme Lord. In other words, the bhakti yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness, can understand how things are taking place. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Thank you, Mataji.
So those who are not self-realized, they can never understand. Then next. यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगदभास्यतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम् यदादित्यगतं तेजो, the splendor of the sun, यदादित्यगतं तेजो jagadabhasyate jagadabhasyate. It is illuminating the whole world. Akhilam yet chandramasi yachagno agni tattejo vitti mamakam. Whatever the splendor we see in the moon, what splendor we see in the fire, Krishna says that is my splendor. That all comes from me. That teja comes from me. Yadaditya gatam tejo jagadabhasyate akhilam. Jagadabhasyate akhilam. The whole world is illuminated by the sun. But the power to illuminate comes from Krishna. That is why we sing in the morning, Brahma Samhita. What is that verse which is for sun? Nayana Manjari can tell what is that verse for the sun. She chants every day. Let us hear from her. She's also Bhakti Shastri student. She is hearing the class. Is she there to tell that verse? Narayana? I think she must be taking Narayana.
She's coming. Wait.
Ah,
हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं?
विकासलग्रहाणां राजा समस्तशूरमूर्ति भ्रमुतिसन्भूतकालचक्रु गोविन्दमूर्ति पुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Ammaputi Tamaham Bhajami. So what we chant? Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Yachakshuresha Savita Sakala Grahanam. So the sun god gets all the power from Krishna. Raja Samasta Suramurti Tejas Suramurti Tejas. Raja Samasta Suramurti Teja. Tejas is coming to this Raja from whom? From Krishna. Then this Kala Chakra, the whole Kala Chakra is the day and the night, is because of sun god. But the power is coming from whom? Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Krishna says, I am that. I am giving him. I am giving the moon, I am giving the fire, I am giving the sun, all the power, all the splendor. So it is because of moon, we get the juice in the vegetables. The juice in the vegetables are because of the moon rays. The sun destroys all the contamination. Simple. So that is why this prayer every day, every Vaishnava should chant. And then you should pray to sun god also. Because when you are seeing sun, what you are seeing? The splendor of Krishna. The splendor of it. It's not that, oh, we are now devotees, now why we should see the sun? No, we should see the sun. God. And we should see that the splendor is given by Krishna. Yeah, splendor is given by Krishna. Okay. Narayana, read.
यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलम् यच्चन्द्रामसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्. Translation: The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. Papa Prabhupada ki jai. The unintelligent cannot understand how things are taking place, but one can begin to be established in knowledge by understanding what the Lord explains here. Everyone sees the sun, moon, fire, and electricity. One should simply try to understand the splendor of the sun, the splendor of the moon, and the splendor of electricity or fire are coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In such a conception of life, the beginning of Krishna consciousness, lies a great deal of advancement for the conditioned soul in this material world. The living entities are essentially the parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and He is giving herewith the hint how they can come back to Godhead, back to home. From this verse, we can understand that the sun is illuminating the whole solar system. There are different universes and different solar systems, and there are different suns, moons, and planets also. But in each universe, there is only one sun. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.21, the moon is one of the stars, Nakshatranam Aham Sashi. Sunlight is due to the spiritual effulgence in the spiritual sky of the Supreme Lord. With the rise of the sun, the activities of human beings are set up. They set fire to prepare their foodstuffs, they set fire to start the factories, etc. So many things are done with the help of fire. Therefore, sunrise, fire, and moonlight are so pleasing to the living entities. Without their help, no living entity can live. So, if one can understand that the light and splendor of the sun, moon, and fire are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, then one's Krishna consciousness will begin. By the moonshine, all the vegetables are nourished. The moonshine is so pleasing that people can easily understand that they are living by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Without His mercy, there cannot be sun. Without His mercy, there cannot be moon. And without His mercy, there cannot be fire. And without the help of sun, moon, and fire, no one can live. These are some thoughts to provoke Krishna consciousness in the conditioned soul.
Yeah. So the sun, because of the sun, we are actually removing our lethargy, or we will be just sleeping. The sun is there, that is why we are performing activities. And also fire is there, that is why we are able to, fire is there, that is why we are able to sustain our livelihood. We are able to eat, we get the, we are able to eat, we are able to cook, we are able to have strength. So how see Krishna has provided everything. So vegetables are there. For that, from where the strength will come or the juice will come, that is only because of moon. So Krishna has designed the whole thing so nicely. Krishna has provided everything to us. Then गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहम् ओजसा पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वा सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहम् ओजसा पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वा सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः गामाविश्य भूतानि. Gama means planets. Avishya, entering. When the soul enters the planet, Dharayami aham, I sustain. Let's see how Krishna is so merciful. The soul it doesn't want to live in the spiritual world. Doesn't want to live means the consciousness is put into the matter to such an extent. He has forgotten his relationship with Krishna, but Krishna has not stopped his mercy onto him. He is sustaining him. Oh, just how is he sustaining him? By his energy. Dharayam aham ojasa. The person understands this, he will never say, I don't have time for Krishna. Krishna is giving so much of everything, all the facilities, so much facilities. Even to wake up and come out of the lethargy, Krishna has given sun. Krishna has given sun to dry our clothes. Just see, we are wearing the clothes. If sun is not there, how we will dry our clothes? We will say, washing machine is there, and dryer is there. But even to get that electricity, you need sun. Even to have a dryer in the house, you need electricity. And for electricity, you need sun. That sun dries the water becomes evaporates. And in this way, the rain flows. And in this way, there is a solar system, you can say, or you can say hydroelectricity, whatever. For everything, the cause is sun. And Krishna has given every facility. But we don't have time for Krishna. That is our problem. We cannot share our things with Krishna. That is again our problem. We don't want to give our time to Krishna. But Krishna says, aham ojasaha. By my energy, pushnami. What I have done? I have dharayami. I have sustained. Pushnami. I am nourishing also. So vegetables get the taste because of moon. Krishna is more worried about our tongue, isn't it, than us. But we know how to destroy the sweetness of the juices given by Krishna by adding something tamas, by adding something nonsense. Krishna knows how to give wonderful taste for every vegetable, but we know to destroy the taste. Pushnami chaushadi, cha aushadi. Krishna has given aushadi also. That is, he has given vegetables. Here, aushadi refers to vegetables. That means there is a medicine within your kitchen itself. You don't have to go to doctor for everything. Every vegetable has an aushadi. Your kitchen itself is a medicine. You should know what to take at what time, how to cook, how to put ingredients at what time. Everything cannot be put together. We should know how to cook also. Cooking is also a talent. How to sustain the juices in the vegetable. Not to burn, not to deep fry, everything deep fry. Once I saw, even the drumstick was deep fried in our temple just to make sambar. And that was put from top. In fact, drumstick has so much of juices, it has to be boiled. Automatically, the taste of the juice enters. But when we are in hurry, what we do, everything we deep fry. Whatever vegetable we get, just put in the oil, deep fry. What we are doing? Rajbhog. Deep fry, and remove all the nourishment, whatever is given. It doesn't work. We should maintain the taste, the flavor, by cooking it in an appropriate heat. When Krishna is giving us so much of things which is very nicely, he's giving us a lot of patience. And we are so impatient to cook for Lord, isn't it? Aushadi sarvaha. Then Krishna says, Soma bhutva rasatmakaha. So it is moon which is actually supplying the juice. So how this moon got the strength? Just because Krishna is giving that splendor to the moon. Okay. Ansurbi Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Gama Vishya cha bhutani dharyamaya vabhojasa pushnami choshadi sarva somo bhutta rasatmaka. Translation. I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into every atom, every planet, and every living being. That is discussed in Brahma Samhita. It is said that one planet portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universe, the living entity, and even into the atom. So due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. When the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on water. But when the living spark is out of the body is dead, the body sinks. Of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like a straw and other things. But as soon as a man is dead, he at once sinks in water. Similarly, all these planets are floating in this space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His energy is sustaining each planet just like a handful of dust. If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of the dust falling. But if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. Similarly, these planets which are floating in the air are actually held in the fist of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. By his strength and energy, all moving, non-moving things stay in their place. It is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. Were it not for him, all the planets would scatter like dust in air and perish. Similarly, it is due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the moon nourishes all vegetables. Due to the moon's influence, the vegetables become delicious. Without the moonshine, the vegetables can neither grow nor taste succulent. Human society is working, living comfortably, and enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind could not survive. The word Rasatmaka is very significant. Everything becomes palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So everything is becoming palatable because of Krishna. Krishna has provided us everything. So by studying Bhagavad Gita, we really feel that we are really indebted to Krishna for everything. So what we are doing in return to Krishna? Nothing. We're not doing anything. Even the japa also we are not doing properly, isn't it? So at least we can improve our japa. We can improve our chanting process, our service to Krishna. And in this way, in return, we can give a wonderful thanks to Krishna. Even the word thanks is so less. Our whole existence is because of Krishna. Everything is because of Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop here. Actually, I have a meeting, so I have to stop a little early. But one phrase our Nayan Manjari has given for Hansupi Prabhu. When Hansupi Prabhu was reading, she is seeing the class, she said, it's Srila Prabhupada who is reading.
Thank you, Nayan Manjari, for the best compliment of my life.
She gives bath to Prabhupada. She says, this is Prabhupada who's reading. Nainu, Manchak. Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
नहीं वापस बोलो मंच गलती
वैष्णविंद की जय
श्री प्रभुपाद की
मंजरी जय
प्रभुपाद
हरि बोल